comeback. Awesome.
What did Tom say?
comeback.
I missed
Not
that.
for him.
All angles work for me, Gabe. I don't know.
All angles.
Oh,
And Gabe, I should really be mean, but you know what? I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice.
I mean, you don't have to be if you got a good one.
I
You
was-
know,
I
you
was-
hate to
I-
swallow a good zinger.
You know, it's like my tongue's bleeding right now. Bleeding bad. All right, we're going to give Facebook a minute or two to let everybody know that we're here and that we're live. So bear with us on that. Oh, hold on a minute. See, this happened last time too. Oh, does not exist. Cannot load. Are we live, Amanda? Can you tell me?
We are indeed.
Okay, because that my page does not show that we're live. So we're all talking and everything's good.
Yep, we have 6 people with us so far.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, there would be
We're
7.
missing one.
We're missing one.
Yeah.
But that one happens to be sitting in the room with us.
Yay!
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 So everybody that watches us regularly will know who Beth Doherty is from, I don't know where you are on the screen, so I'm just going to go like this. Beth has been watching Tea Time pretty much from the beginning, Beth.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes, that's for years. Years.
Yeah,
It's
years.
the
I know
highlight
it's
of
so
my
weird to
week.
say years. It's so
Yeah.
weird to say years.
I
And
thought the
Beth-
same thing. It can't be years. You're lying.
No, I know.
It's been years.
And Beth is, as you know, if you're watching us regularly, her name is featured, not her personality, but her name is featured very prominently in that little book that Tom Benton is holding up. I have some questions for you by Rebecca Mackay. So we just hosted Rebecca on Friday of just a few days ago. And so we thought it would be super fun to bring Beth on and find out exactly what the behind the scenes is on how she got to be in that book. And we're going to hear some recommendations and just some fun stuff before we start our thing. So Beth, tell
Yeah,
us.
well, thank you so much for having me. I feel like a superstar for getting to join the Tea Time crew. This is really exciting. So thank you very much. First of all, I had read The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay and loved it. One of my absolute favorite books. And on, I think it was Amazon Prime Day.
Right.
So I was following Rebecca on Twitter. On Amazon Prime Day, she sent out a tweet saying, she wanted to stick it to some
To that
people.
bald guy?
To
Oops,
that
not you,
bald
Gabe.
guy.
Not you,
Yeah.
Gabe. The other bald guy.
And so she sent out an offer saying, if you buy my book, I will send you a signed copy. And I think it was, if you do that within the next certain number of hours, I will put you in my next book. And I thought, how fun is that? I have always wanted to have my name in a book.
Buying
So
it from
I-
an independent bookseller, right?
Yes, thank you. From a very specific independent bookseller. Yeah,
Cool.
it was the Vermont
Okay.
Bookshop. Yeah. And so I did that. And when I was emailing her my receipt, I said, if you want to make me like a bad character, go ahead. Because I thought, sometimes you get more play if you turn into a bad character. So I got my book, which I have here. And she, of course, signed it. And it says in here, to Beth, who's going in the next one, with warm thanks. Don't know
I
if you
love
can see
that.
that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love
And so I
it.
thought, this is a lot of fun. And then nothing happened for a long time. Of course, books take a long time to write. And that book had come out not all that long before that. And so after about a year, back on June 22nd, 2021, I got a message from Rebecca on Twitter where she said, Beth, I have a strange question for you. A couple years ago, you're one of the people who participated in the thing on this particular day, where I said that if you bought my book from an indie store that day, I'd name a character after you. You said, at least this is what I have in my notes, that you wouldn't mind a bitchy character. Most of the characters named after readers have been very small roles, but the character I named Beth Doherty has become a much larger part than I anticipated. And yes, she's kind of a bitch, but ultimately a good person. My question is, would you A, prefer that I swap the names out so Beth is just a person who's mentioned a couple of times? B, change it partway so her name is now Erin Doherty or something? Or C, keep it as it is, which honestly might result down the road in things like this character being one of the top results that comes up if someone Googles your name. And I thought, go for it. Make me.
Exactly.
Yeah, keep my name. And so she did, apparently. I still have not yet read the book, which I'm very, because I'm getting it from Warbooks.
Yep,
And,
it's on its way. It
it's
is on its way.
Yay. And I have been so eagerly anticipating just seeing how,
Well,
what my role is.
she completely remembers the whole thing because she said pretty much the same thing. She said, "Oh yeah, I had to get in touch with her and see if she minded that I like made this character who's like not very nice." And there is some redeeming quality to her at the end, but during and so she was like, "Yeah, because if people Google her name, it could be really bad." So she remembered the whole thing, which was really kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention Beth Johnson is on and says, "Hi everyone. I just finished Beth's book. Oh, I mean, I have some questions for you." So good.
But it was, and I told Rebecca, I said, because we had talked about it, and then I started reading the book, kind of forgot that you were, and I said it was just this like thing. And I said, and Beth's blonde hair, and this whole thing, because I see your profile picture, and I was just like, so I was reading the book, but picturing Beth, and so it was just so it's really, I mean, it's so trippy.
Yeah.
It's so trippy.
It's I love it. I love
Yeah.
I love being able to tell folks I'm in a book. My name's in a book.
Yeah.
Of course,
And you're
it's not me.
not just any book, a great book.
a New York Times
yeah.
best-selling
Yes,
book.
that's right.
Yeah,
A
exactly.
New York Times best-selling book, which is something pretty cool. And it's
really
just
is.
so fun that
Yeah.
that Rebecca remember, it was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really fun. So
Well,
we got
and
that
it's been
going.
fun to talk to all of you about it. So thank you very much for indulging me as the
I
book
did
has
that
come
doesn't
out.
happen every day for stuff. So it's always super fun. So before we let you go though, and we start the tea time, why don't you tell us a few of your books that you're looking forward to reading, or you're reading now or whatever?
Yeah. So I am looking forward to a few that are coming out. One that I think is coming out this week, The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner.
Okay, Gabe, are
Yeah.
you paying attention?
I'm gonna have to add a book real quick. That was on my list today. Thank you for reading that.
And then another one is Games and Rituals by Katherine Heine. I loved her Early Morning Riser book.
Okay.
This one is short stories, and this one doesn't come out until April, but I am eagerly anticipating it. And then number 7 and 8 in the Andrew Basnett mystery series, which I heard about on Tea Time from Andrea sometime back, by E.X. Ferrars, which is reprints through the Felony and Mayhem series. And they're not out until June and July, but Hobby of Murder and Choice of Evils, which I am excited to continue.
You are
series.
a pro because you covered Tom,
Yes.
Gabe, and Andrea.
I
So-
know, I was thinking the same thing.
Kudos on that for you, sister.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off and go enjoy watching all of your
Oh.
recommendations from this week. But thank
Beth,
you again.
Thanks for coming
It was
on, Beth.
great.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming
Beth.
on. All right. See y'all.
Bye-bye.
See you on Facebook.
Yes.
Can you message me your second and third choices? Because I got distracted looking for my
Yes, I
copy
will.
of.
I
Okay,
will.
good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
I have to say that is pretty amazing, because I actually have another book from Felony and Mayhem Press, and I don't think I've talked about them since that
That's-
earlier endorsement. So how crazy is that?
How crazy is
Open the
that?
door for a conversation today.
She was
a pro.
I think she was a pro. I think she planned that. She was
I
good.
liked having a guest.
I know, it's kind of fun having guest spots. It's just like, okay, that was pretty fun. I'll have to think about who we could have next as a guest.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's gonna go Gabe, Tom, Andrea. Anna and I are just here for your pleasure and entertainment. So Gabe, hold on, let me get you.
Enable me.
I'm going to enable you now. You are enabled.
What is going on?
What's
Zoom?
happening?
So the first book I want to talk about is, where did you go? Advanced, basic. Whoa, what's going on here? Share. There it is. So the first book, I've been dying to talk about this book. And I just got the standee, the little display that's got Julie's quote on the cover. And the other quote was Deborah's. So it's Julie and Deborah, two San Diego authors blurbing
Love
Stephanie
that.
Clifford from now most recently Brooklyn, but originally from the Seattle, Washington area. But thank you for reading, Jules. I know you were a fan of her last book,
Loved her last book.
which was a New York Times bestseller. I really love this novel. It has got such a great character. Lillian, the main character of the story, is a woman who's had a career in country music. She's drank, she drunk it away. She pilled it away. She's been a wreck her entire life. And we start off the book with her planning a farewell tour. She needs to close out her career. She's looking for some sort of redemption. And there's a plan to sort of go full circle with her life, which I think has brought a really great ending to this novel. So she's getting the gang back together. She convinces her old touring manager, Charlie, to come along. And Charlie's another great character he'll be thinking about in 10 years, I think. Because he's sort of her saving grace. He accepts her with everything, that she's got a lot of baggage. And then the book jumps back to her origin story, which is a 10-year-old living in Walla Walla, Washington, in the depths of poverty. And she basically, at 10 years old, walks out of her house and never looks back, and goes on to form a life. So you can imagine the life of a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old girl in the 1930s, in any time. I mean, today, we're having these conversations today. What befalls a young girl, a young woman, as she gets exploited by men, obviously, all along the way. And there's a reason why she is as messed up as she is. She's just been taking advantage of it every turn, having to do whatever she had to do to survive and make a buck. She carved out a career, but she blew that. So now she's starting this tour, and it's going to end at a place, as I said, to go full circle with her life. I just love the telling of this story. I love the feel of the story. The characters all had a lot of heart. They're characters that are going to stay with you. And I think that's one of the big tricks in a novel, in a sitcom, in anything. It is, if you've got these great characters and you write well, like a Friends or like one of those great ensemble cast TV shows, I think that's what this is like. This is a great ensemble cast that you see, down to the new guitarist being a young kid that they bring up. So there's all these loose ends to this narrative. And so the linear tale takes you through the whole tour, and then we flash back and we see Lillian as she's growing up and coming of age, and various bad marriages, etc. So a character you're going to root for, even though she's really messed up and not the nicest person, but somebody who you really, really root for. And like I said, it's in the read. It's a terrific read. As I said, the issues mirror what's going on today, women's issues that are still being dealt with today and discussed today, from 50 years. So the book takes us from the mid-30s up to like the early 80s. 1980, 81 is where she's doing this tour about. So I think just a lovely narrative. I really
Right.
been waiting to talk about
Oh
this.
yeah, me too.
For everybody.
It's so good. And yes, her first book, Everybody Rise, was really good. Totally different, completely different book. Just different topic the whole bit, but her writing is just spot on solid. I'm not a big country Western fan. So at first I was sort of like, oh, I don't know if, but you don't have to be. And so, because you're right, Gabe, that it's so intriguing. It's like following Dolly Parton and June Carter and all of them around. I mean, she just is like, she's captured all the little essences of all of them. But at the heart of it, like you said, is this family, is this her story and her sister,
Yeah, I don't want to.
yeah, I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to either, but it's at this whole, that's at the whole heart of it, is this really great characters, and I loved it. And so she will be with us as a virtual event on just in a couple weeks. Actually, we booked this one kind of late, March 18th, I think, on a Saturday. We found that Saturday virtual events work for us for some reason. We get a pretty decent audience. So come and see us on Saturday. And for Stephanie, who's she in with? Amanda, I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh.
Her name is Vivi.
Oh, that's right.
Ganashananthan, but she
Yeah.
goes by Sugi or Shugi.
Sugi or Sugi, yeah. Okay. Anyways, great book. Really good book.
It sounds so good.
And not just because my blurbs on the stand-up. It's, you know,
No, but you were, I think your blurb was like the first one. You right away were like, I really love this.
I loved it. Yeah, it was good. All right, Tom Benton.
Okay, so my first book is, I think, going to be one of our biggest books of the year, Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. So it's a great book, and there's a great publishing story behind it, but I'll start with the book. So we have a quote on the cover from Cynthia Dupree Sweeney. So it's the Nest. If you like The Nest, you'll like this book. But so it's set at Pineapple Street. Apparently there are fruit streets in Brooklyn Heights that are where I guess like the 1% now would reside. And so that's what we have. This is an old WASP family. And it's about the children who have inherited this money, right, in this setting and the world that they grew up in. Now they're adults, and they're grappling with privilege and all of those questions. So there's Sasha, who has married into the family. So that's the other kind of strand that comes in, is what is it like to marry into a family like that when you don't come from that background. There's Georgiana, who's the baby of the family. She's the one who seems to have the most questions about the wealth itself, and she's living her life and asking those questions. And then there's the oldest sister, who's Darlie, right, who's kind of given up her. She's married, she's got children, so she has her own set of issues. So it's smart, it's escapist, but it's also grappling with real life issues in the world that we're living in. But at the end of the day, it is about the haves and the have-nots. It's about inequality, but it's a hell of a lot of fun at the same time. It's a Pam Dorman book, so she's, you know, one of my favorite people, one of my favorite editors. It's a perfect kind of Pam Dorman book because it's wildly entertaining. And also very, you know, it's a good, there's a lot of good book club stuff to talk about here too. Then to Jenny Jackson. So Jenny Jackson is one of the premier editors at Knopf, a sister imprint, one of Steve's imprints. And she edits everyone from Gabrielle Zevin, Emily St. John Mandel, Chris Bojalian, Peter Heller, Cormac McCarthy. So
No, she's not.
Yes. Really? Wow.
Kevin Kwan. So it's, I mean, a wide, you know.
Wow.
And I wrote down Catherine Heine, and I thought, well, should I mention Catherine Heine? But I do, because Beth just mentioned Catherine Heine's new book coming in April or May, the short stories. So it's really cool to have a book by an editor. That doesn't happen that often. And there's a great New York Times interview with her where she talks about, like, the tables are now turned. How does it feel to be edited by Pam Dorman, you know, who sends back, you know, she sends back her edits to Jenny Jackson, and Jenny's like talking to her authors and is like, is this how this feels to you? I'm not feeling this right now. So the response has been great. It's a Indie Next pick. A lot of great love in the indie stores, and I think there's a lot of great things to come with Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson.
Coming tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow, yeah, in hardcover. Yeah.
Okay, my eyes are not great, but I do see Barbara Streisand behind you, so I do see that.
Thank you.
But Jenny looks like she's like really young.
Yeah, in the pictures, I agree. I know.
And it's just like, she's got a stable of like really big off, and it's like,
right.
Kudos on her for being that.
Yeah, that accomplished.
Yeah.
They talked about in the New York Times piece that Sunny Mehta Knopf at some point handed off Cormac McCarthy to her because he saw that she could do it. She's that brilliant. She can do Kevin Kwan and Cormac McCarthy,
which are
incredible. Yeah.
Amazing.
So really fun to have this book from her.
Yeah. And Pam always picks good. Pam, you're guaranteed a good, solid little read from Pam.
A great read. Whatever
entertaining,
kind of
good entertaining read. Yeah. You're guaranteed that from Pam. So awesome. Okay, Andrea.
All right. I want to talk first about Abigail Thomas's new memoir, Still Life at 80. The next interesting thing. she, her earlier memoir, A Three Dog Life, was named one of the best books of 2006 by the LA Times and the Washington Post. There's a lot of in-house love at Warwick's and other indies scattered about the country for her. And this is a book that she wrote like during the COVID lockdown period, where she just started ruminating about aging. And so this is for anybody who's is aging or thinking about aging at some point and coming to a reckoning with what that means. Let me just read you a quote from Stephen King. This is a great quote. Abigail Thomas is the Emily Dickinson of memoirists, and so much of this book's wisdom is between the lines and in the white spaces. It may only take you 2 days to read, but the impact will stay with you for a long, long time. Abigail Thomas fills memory with living breath. Well, holy cow, the master of horror like gives Abigail Thomas just an incredible blurb there. And I expect this has already started selling at Warwick's. It went on sale last week. And I expect this to sell pretty well for some time. So there you go.
I think older women are having a what do you want to call it? What's
A
the
moment.
word? A moment, but there's I don't know. I think of Fanny Garmis and Delia Owens and
It's really
now
true.
Abigail, you know.
It's really true. There's some sort of, it's in the zeitgeist, like,
Yeah.
you know, publishing older women, like memoirists and fiction writers. So
Right. And I'm trying to think of, I loved the little book. Her latest
Cat
one was
brushing.
a lifeboat, huh?
cat,
Cat brushing was
Yeah.
great.
yeah,
But
that's
the little life, though, this was a few years ago. The newer one was a lifeboat, but I can't think of, you know what I'm talking about, Amanda.
Yes.
Darling book. Oh, about where she goes and meets the man who is a museum, the bog man. Anyways, never mind. She doesn't meet the bog man. That was the worst endorsement of a book
Never mind.
I could possibly have ever done. It's like, thank goodness. I hope that person is not watching.
Are you
me describe
talking
her
about
book.
the author of Meet Me at the Museum?
Yes, I am. As a matter
Okay.
of fact.
Oh, the bog, that's the Bogman book. Yeah.
Yes,
So
the museum
book-
guy.
that
Yeah.
book was called
Meet me at the
Um,
museum.
oh, well, I thought you were talking about
Her newer one was I don't
The nar-
remember. I loved Meet Me at the Museum.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that she published when she was like, I don't know, 75 maybe.
yeah, it's just nice to see.
Yeah, it is.
Nice to
So
see, and it you know, gives
circling back around to Abigail.
yeah. And well, I mean, it's just nice to see. It gives like all, you know, all of the aspiring writers out there, like, you know, a little extra hope and nudge to get on it.
Never too late.
Let's
Never-
see. My gray hair is like, no, I never wanted to be a writer. Anyways, okay, Gabe. Save me, Gabe.
I was been trying to save you for 5 minutes, but I couldn't find my slide.
I shouldn't have bitten my tongue earlier. I
You
knew I
can't,
shouldn't have.
you know, it just comes in your head. I
God,
think it's
the
gotta
next
come out.
time it's like no holds barred. It's like
It-
done.
If it sounds funny in my head, it's gonna come out. I'm
It-
sorry, Jules.
Yeah,
Sometimes you make it too easy.
I make it so easy for you. I
make
love
too
it.
easy. So
I
feel
love it.
free. Throw the tomatoes. The tomatoes.
All right, let's go.
All right. London Seance Society. Sarah Penner. Basically, I love when I have a book and I go to my bookstores and it's like, okay, I have the next Barbara Kingsolver. I got the next Ann Patchett. I got the next Sarah Penner. How many do you want? You know, it's really like an easy conversation to have. I don't have to have a conversation about what's inside the book. It's the new Sarah Penner. It's going to be huge. The early reads have been madness. I don't know how many of these have been read. I had so many requests for this galley. We gave them away at trade shows over the fall. At Winter Institute, they just flew out. I think she signed a few more than Colson Whitehead did. She signed like everything that was in the box and that was there. That she was like bonkers how much love Sarah Penner gets. But some people like to know what the book is about, so I will do that. And it's basically Lena Wicks has come to Paris to find some answers about her sister's death. And while she's in Paris, she meets this famous spiritualist, seance spiritualist, Vaudeline Dallaire. And when Vaudeline is asked to come to, she's one of those people, you know how they do, they still talk about, sometimes they'll get him a card reader or a psychic to come in on a case and see if they could find a murder or something. So this takes place, pretty much the Victorian era. It is steeped in atmosphere. It's 1873, and she is asked to come to London to help solve a murder. And in London, they come across the Royal London Seance Society that they become mixed up with, which is ruled by men. It's run by men. It's all men. And they bump heads, and they start to think that maybe they are not so much as solving the crime as actually become part of the crime. So she got some twists and turns. Though she's a clever writer. She keeps it twisty. You don't see a lot of stuff coming. Really huge audience. Like I said, huge audience. I mean, independent booksellers are tray snooty about what they read, and they don't like to read anything that's too commercial. But like I said, she was a hit with her institute. Wherever she goes, it's the biggest line there. It's the biggest line there, because people want more. And she's been very smart. She's like, she doesn't want to get pinned into a 1 book a year contract. So she's like, in her contract, it's like every 2 years. So she's got time to develop, change the course. The next book, I think, takes place in Italy. So she's going to take us away. So even structurally, she's very smart about how she doesn't want to bore her audience. She wants to keep things fresh. So she's a terrific young find for us. And I think, she's struck a nerve.
Yep. I think she's getting better and better. You know what I mean? I think it's, the first one was really good, and I think this one's even better. So
right, because I think they see, I should have done that. I should have done this. And
yeah, exactly. So honing her craft, as they say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, so
soon she will be at the height of her powers.
yeah. God. All right.
Well, it is a propulsive read.
I
Okay.
wonder how long she's going to spend in Italy doing research,
I would be as long as I could.
I'd be there right now.
working it hard.
All
It's
right,
work.
Tom.
All right, let's get snooty for a second,
Ooh.
because we all love snooty. Check out 19, out in paperback last week, I think. Claire Louise Bennett. This book is, I guess we call it, yes, auto fiction. This is part of a movement that I really haven't read a lot of books like this. The author and the main character, whose head we're in, very similar. So it's kind of hard to decide what's, you don't know what's autobiographical, what's not, what's fiction. But I listened to this on audio. It is a fantastic audio. It is totally immersive. You just have to give in to the rhythms of the language. This is not a straightforward narrative. We're inside her mind, and it's about love of language, love of reading. It's kind of incredible. It was one of the New York Times 10 best books of the year last year. So it's great that it didn't quite get its due in hardcover, I don't think, until that New York Times. So they chose it as one of the 5 best works of fiction of last year. And their description is great. They say all the words one might use to describe this book: experimental, auto-fictional, surrealist, fail to convey the sheer pleasure of Checkout 19. You'll come away dazed, delighted, reminded of just how much fun reading can be, eager to share it with people in your lives. It's a love letter to books and an argument for them too. So if you feel like if this is your kind of book, you'll love it. It's Checkout 19.
Tell me what's on that cover.
That is it looks like to me like a woman in bed with her covering her face with a blanket. You see that? That look like that's you? Well,
Oh, now I see it.
Looks
Okay.
like a couch to me, but
No, I thought it was somebody bending over a couch. So I
oh no, this looks to me like a woman in bed, like trying to cover her face and disappear.
okay.
Is that good?
Still see the couch, but anyway.
I mean, Julie was just staring and staring.
I was like, I gotta I'm not seeing it.
We did
Um,
repackage it. I can't remember what the hardcover looked like, but it's a different look. This is, and she's like an Irish novelist who is going, she's eventually going to win the Booker Prize. She's
Yeah.
that kind of writer.
Awesome.
This got stupid attention. I
Yeah.
really wanted to pick it up, and then it just totally went off my radar until you mentioned it again. But I just remember it was like NPR covered it, the New York Times covered it, it was covered
Absolutely.
in the UK in a big way.
And weirdly on audio, I wasn't sure if it would work, but she reads it herself.
I was going to ask you that. Okay, she
Yeah,
does read it.
and it's you just really get caught up in the language and the sound of it. It's beautiful. The writing is incredible.
See, that I might have to listen to, because nothing's better than listening to an Irish person read. to
Yeah,
you.
that's true. Exactly right.
Colin
Whatever,
McCann.
whatever they're saying.
What they could tell me anything.
Yes.
Yeah, Colin McCann, that is still mine. Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Okay, Andrea.
Okay. Talking about Miss Blaine's Prefect and the Vampire Menace. This is from Felony and Mayhem Press that I discussed earlier after Beth gave a pitch for the EX Ferrer's books. This is a trade paperback house. They do a lot of reissues from different periods in mystery and crime fiction, mostly mysteries, however. And this is really great. Okay. This is a 1695 trade paper out last week by Olga Woodhouse, and basically an intrepid time traveling librarian in her middle years, but a whiz at martial arts, travels back in time to the 19th century to a French village who's having issues with what they learn is a vampire. So the village receives no sunlight because of the topography, and so the librarian really is truly working in the dark here, and is soon drawn into this full-blown vampire, I don't know what you'd say, like mystery and / vampire hunt. Really great. The Edinburgh Reporter says that even the vampire is a delight, and this is just something, this is a fun read. It is not auto fiction. It is not snooty at all. And so if you just need a little break after you read Tom's last book, pick this one up. So
That sounds amazing.
I know, right?
Excellent.
I'm just like, come on. I mean, she's a librarian. She does martial arts and she time travels. Come on, you can't
Come
go.
on.
No, that's it.
So one of Arlene's on here talking about Doherty. She worked on the entire trilogy as a result of what she did on Keeper, and it was Thrill. So there we go. Love it. That one sounds really good. That's a good package too. I love the cover.
Yeah, they nailed it.
Yeah, because it lends itself to the whole idea of that it's of what you're getting into. That's
Yep.
very good. Yep. All right, lightning round. Well, hey, even with a guest today, we're like going pretty
We're
good.
good.
Yeah. Don't take that, Gabe, as is
As
still-
permission.
as
to-
permission.
So let's sit around the fire and talk about books, man. It is another year. It's another March, April. It's another Peter Swanson book. Peter Swanson is one of our best-selling authors. He sells in mystery stores, and he sells in stores that don't necessarily have really strong mystery sections. He writes a really interesting, though different book every time. His last book was more of a locked room, Lucy Foley, Agatha Christie type. This is a little more of a devious novel in that our protagonist is asked to investigate a possibly cheating husband. And it turns out that this woman, Joan, he has known from a previous life as like a grammar school or high school teacher. So he has a history with her at some level. And then when he starts closing in on the husband and possible infidelity, he starts again thinking the trail starts leading towards the wife. So it's a really again another twisty, really clever. I think he just gets better and better. His first couple of books were very noirish, really good noir. I would put up there with like the James M. Cain's. I liked his first two books that much. I thought they were that good. Then he did a couple of things and did a little psychological thriller, which was not his strongest. But then he came back, and the last like 5 books have been really strong. And each one's, like I said, a little different, which sometimes mystery readers and people who read an author kind of want the same thing. Like Michael Connelly, you want the same characters, etc. Peter doesn't do that. He writes whatever moves him, and it's been working. So his readers keep up with him, regardless of what he's putting out there. So whatever he's laying down, they're picking up.
I'm intrigued by authors like him that can keep writing a book a year that's still like,
Pretty
tight,
good,
spot, you know what I mean? It's
Not all of them. There's usually clinkers. Peter
Right.
Robinson's another one who I thought he did a book a year. Only one book I thought was kind of not the greatest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they were all really good. And
yeah, it's
does the same thing.
stunning to me.
And a reader will
Yeah.
forgive a clunker. I mean, if you read,
Oh, for sure.
you'll just, it wasn't the best one, but I'll read the next one.
Right.
We'll do it
right.
back to back or something.
Yeah, don't do back to back. Which it always reminds me of John Sanford, my John Sanford story. It's a formula. In front of a live audience. Okay,
Well, thank you, Julie and Gabe, for your introduction to my next book. Because some authors, here we are, March, another year, another March. It's time for a new Joe Pickett novel, CJ
okay.
Box. One of those authors that every year delivers a really good book, very
Yep.
reliable, very, just they're all good. I mean, he's good at what he does. But this is well, actually, he does write other books in a different series, not for us, but for us, it's the Joe
Okay.
Pickett novels. So it's and he's trying new things with Joe Pickett. So this one is about Pickett is a game warden in Wyoming, and he's out tracking an elk, and he comes across a mutilated body. But that body leads him to University of Wyoming, federal agents, the governor. He's dealing with anti-establishment libertarians. So a little bit of the political world that I'm sure in a place like Wyoming you would sense and feel, it comes into this novel. But he delivers it like he's just really, again, really good at what he does, delivers every time. Kirkus said called this one of the most successful of Box's increasingly ambitious have-it-all thrillers. So that's great. CJ Box. And so this is the 23rd of the Joe Pickett novels, I think.
Wow.
But does that mean he's been writing like maybe we did 2 in some years? I don't know. I can't imagine this has really been 23 years.
But it might be. Think about it. It's like
be.
2002-ish,
I know. I've been there for every one. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but it
Been here a
seems
long
like
time.
yeah.
I want to look in the mirror
Stormwatch,
again, bro.
CJ Box.
We got to host him once. This is pre-COVID a few years ago. Packed the house a whole bit. And Tammy, lovely Tammy, has a little bit of a crush on CJ Box.
Oh, it's easy to have a crush. Yeah,
Just-
I've seen that happen. Yeah.
Just saying, he's
Chuck
yeah,
Box is there with the hat.
yeah, comes in with his hat. He's got his little cowboy boots and his little belt. He's like, yeah, he's crushable. So okay, Andrea. Tammy better not be watching this. She's gonna get so mad at me.
I wanted to talk about a backlist gem, especially for coastal indie bookstores, as our beloved Warwick's Waves and Beaches. This came out in March of 2021. It was a reissue and update of a classic that was published in 1963. Kim McCoy was a longtime friend with the original author, Willard Bascom. And as Bascom was dying, Kim McCoy promised him that he'd find a way to get the book back into print, and tirelessly did so. So that's a good friend to have. and Patagonia did this really gorgeous volume. And, we're moving into the early spring, and so people are going to be out starting, to do all the, walking along the beach. And this is good for surfers, people interested in the ocean, climate activists, ecologists. Well, sorry, I thought there was a few more of these great it's really beautifully illustrated, but anyway, it's just a great book. It's something that you can pick up for a gift. You can put it as a coffee table book in your house for friends and visitors from out of town to look at after you've poured over this volume several times, no doubt. And it's a great price, $29.95 for 400 pages with full color photos, diagrams, and charts. So
It's awesome.
Yep, it's a winner.
Yep. And we actually hosted an event with him during COVID was it Serge Tadina? I think it was with Serge. He used to be the mayor of Imperial Beach. And they did a really great talk just about, what's happening on coast, the coast, and just, it was very good. So it's on our YouTube channel. I know Amanda's probably frantically looking for it, but it is, it's on our YouTube channel. So you could just Google the
It's a
name of
great
it.
book, and it really should be on the shelves of every coastal bookstore for sure.
Yeah. Honestly. Whose is Scorched Grace? Is that yours, Gabe?
It's
No,
mine.
Oh, it's yours. Okay. It's Kim's on here. She said she read Scorched Grace and loved it. So it's an Andrea. Is that the first in a series, Andrea?
It is. We're gonna
Okay.
have the heavily tattooed smoking, cussing
Oh, that's right.
nun in recovery back again. Yep.
Ah, there she is. All right. All right. I love it. Okay. Good week of recommendations and a star special guest with Beth. Beth, it was so fun having you on here. That was really, it kind of gave us all a little boost.
Yes, it did.
It was good. So let's see, tomorrow, okay, one of my favorite books that came out, sorry you guys, it wasn't one of yours, but it's a Macmillan book called Wayward is coming out tomorrow. Probably has one of the best covers I've seen in a long time. It's a really good cover. So
They put a
Wayward is
bird
out.
on it.
Got a
It's
bird
got
on
a
it.
bird on it. Yep.
Got a bird on it. Which is England, 1600s, 3 generations, everything. You just hit all of my points. So that's out tomorrow. Let's see what else is happening. God, we got something else going on, don't we? Oh, John Sayles. If you're in San Diego, John Sayles will be in Coronado on Wednesday night. I'm talking about his new book, and he's gonna be in conversation with the woman who runs the Coronado Film Festival. So that's going to be super interesting too. So we have got an action-packed event schedule. So if you're in San Diego, you were so lucky because you're going to see lots of authors that Amanda and I've been busy. We'll share some of those secrets as we get a little bit closer. Admiral McRaven is one of them, though. I'm very excited about him coming back. So anywho, great week of reading. We'll see you all next. Oh, Amanda did find the YouTube with Serge and everybody. So, and Kim. See you all next week. Happy reading. Weather's still kind of cool, so it's good reading
Still
weather.
reading weather, yeah.
Yep. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.